Hey guys, my name is Milo, and this is the first Matlab video tutorial for Intro to Engineering. And the topic of this video is scripts. Now, before we get into Matlab scripts, we're just going to do a few things right here in the command window. We're basically just going to use Matlab as a calculator. So I can type 1 plus 2, and I get ANS equals 3. I can type 6 times 6, and I get ANS equals 36. Now, ANS is Matlab's default name for answers that have no name. Now, I can name my answers. I can say A equals 1 plus 2, and I can say B equals 6 times 6. And now, you can come over here to the workspace, and you can see A equals 3, B equals 36, ANS is still 36. The problem with ANS is every time you use it, you end up rewriting ANS, so you don't have access to the previous values of ANS. Whereas if you were to name everything individually, you can refer to A as A and B as B, and everything is kept separate. So that's great. So Matlab is a pretty good calculator. It understands order of operations and stuff like that. It has built-in trig functions and exponential functions and all sorts of other functions that you should probably mess around with. So now let's write a script file. First, I'm going to clear everything out of my workspace because I don't need these variables anymore, and I may rename something A and B, and I don't want to get confused. I just don't even want to think about these old variables anymore. So I'm going to type clear all into the command window, and that will clear all the variables out of my workspace. And they're gone. And now I want to clear my command window of all this garbage old information that's completely useless to me now. So I'll type CLC and good as new. So now I'm going to open up a new script file. You can go to home and click right here for a blank script. I think you can also just click new, or you can press Control and N at the same time, and it'll open up an empty script file in the editor. Now, scripts are useful for when you have, let's say, a set of equations that represents a procedure, and you're going to need to execute that entire procedure multiple times with maybe new parameters on each go. That is kind of the ideal setting for using a script as opposed to the command window. Pretty much anything you can do in a script you can do in the command window. It's just probably not the most convenient place to do it in the command window. You'll end up having to type the same things over and over again. It's a mess. So we got this script file open, and we're going to have a little mock problem here. I'm going to make up some parameters. A equals 4.2, B equals 5.0, and we'll say C equals 100. And I'll make up some equations for our parameters. Cool. All right. Now this could be a basic procedure right here. So I'm going to save this. Call it test1. See, I'm saving it in the default Matlab directory. You can save it anywhere. You just have to make sure that the directory that Matlab is set to is the same as where you saved it. And you can see in the current folder, test1, that's the script that I just made. So I'm in the right folder right now. That's good. Alright, now I'm going to run my script. There's a couple ways to do this. There's this run button, or you could press F5. I'm just going to click the button, and my script just ran. And I'm going to go check the results now in the command window. So test1, that was the name of my script. It's spitting out all the parameters that I entered, and then these were the answers to the equations that I made up. Now we don't need to see those parameters. We know what they are because we entered them, and we may have to enter new parameters and run a new case, but we don't need to see them on any particular go. So what we can do is actually suppress those statements from being displayed in the command window, and the way you do that is to just follow it with a semicolon. And this doesn't just work in the editor, it also works in the command window. So remember before when I would write something and it would come up as ANS equals, so 3 plus 4, ANS equals 7. If I were to do 3 plus 4 and then put a semicolon after it, nothing displays. And actually, let me space, you can see that ANS actually did change. It just wasn't displayed. So now ANS equals 8. So semicolons are really useful. Most of the time you probably don't want every single thing that you're typing out to be displayed in the command window. It's also really slow to display everything. You'll figure that out. So we don't need to see A, B, or C, but we do want to see T1 and T2. So this is a good setup right now. We also, this is getting kind of confusing over here in the command window, don't you think? So in the same way that I can type clear all and clear my variables, and type CLC and clear my command window, and I did that straight from the command window, I can type those things in my script file. So clear all will clear any variables that are in my workspace when I start my script file. It's probably a good idea to clear them all out unless you know you want to use them. And I'll type CLC so that when the answers are displayed I don't have to sift through all the other muck from my previous runs to find the most current answers. So I'm going to run that again now. Every time you click run, it'll automatically save it, or if you press F5, but it's probably a good idea to save it as well. See, now just the answers are being displayed. That's exactly what I wanted. Alright, now there's a good chance that you will, at some point in your MATLAB life, you will work on a file that someone else will have to look at, or you will open a file that you haven't looked at in a really long time. And this is where comments are extremely useful. So to comment in MATLAB, you use the ampersand symbol, percent sign, and after you type it, everything will turn green in that line. So I can say that these are my parameters, and I can individually label them. Let's say if I wanted to give them units, for example, I could say that the unit for A is, let's say, meters per second, and the unit for B is kilonewtons or something. This way when I open the file later, I kind of know what's going on, you see? So now we close the file, and you can reopen it by just double-clicking it in the current folder, or you can Control O and just find it manually. And there you have it. This should get you going on scripts. And if you have any questions, come see me during office hours. I am in the Aero Lab from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Alright guys, thanks.